Welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Chris Carnicelli.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us. You know what? Be sure to follow us on the social medias, the Instas, the Twitters, the Facebooks. We've got a bunch of new followers on Instagram, which is super awesome.
Adorable.
So feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm always hanging out over there. Ratings and reviews are very important for this podcast, and we appreciate them. So please be sure to leave those on the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps. Our reviews are actually looking really good. We got the last graph that I looked at. It said that your reviews are up 170%.
Oh,
I'm like, how is it
wow.
possible?
Jeez Louise.
That's
we've
a
had
lot.
a pretty steady stream, God bless y'all.
Yeah. No, we are right now inundated with reviews, which is good.
Ooh.
I love it.
Keep them coming.
Thank you.
Stick around after the episode's over because we're going to be doing some reviews there. We have our Big Cartel shop, which is kryptonautpodcast.bigcartel.com. You can get some goodies there. Currently, the stickers are out, but we are going to restock because we ran out of the Evil Science and Magic Buddy stickers. So we're going to restock the die-cut sticker and the standard Kryptonaut Charlie's Angels logo sticker. Those are going to be restocked. But we do have the enamel pins, and those are selling really well. So thank you to everyone that's buying them. That is 2 enamel pins for $13. Be sure to order those and get pictures and shoot us over. Tag us on Instagram with them. We like seeing people rocking them out
absolutely.
there. Got a couple beer koozies left. Those are running pretty low. TeePublic, you can get T-shirts, you can get totes, you can get sweatshirts, you can get all kinds of fun stuff over there. A lot of orders for the Baphomet Heller Space Alien combo.
Yeah, that's a good
Classic.
We got like 6 orders this week.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I kept thinking it was the same order, but they just kept giving me the same email, and then I'm like, oh no, shoot, I actually sold 6 of them. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
on top of the standard logo T-shirt and everything. So be sure to check all that out. The links for that will be in the description of this podcast. You know what? We're just gonna get started here.
Let's do it.
'Cause
Man.
this is a fun little story.
We're going back to I guess what you could say is one of the inaugural classics in terms of grand theme of this podcast.
We are talking about Little Green Frogmen.
Indeed we
Jeez.
are. And isn't that an adorable nom de plume?
It is. So let's get started with, in the mid-1970s, a lone motorist had the shock of his young life when he nearly drove headlong into a small army of semi-humanoid, helmet-clad, frog-like fiends who were standing vigil in the muddy fields adjacent to an isolated crossroads in rural France.
You just never know what you're going to
Jeez.
find in rural France.
Just a
No.
little militia of frogs.
Yeah, or it could be a nice like bed and breakfast, a good wine, a bistro,
Some cheese.
Frogmen.
or a pile of frogmen.
Or just a bunch
frogmen.
of frogmen, yeah. So,
pile of cheese.
so Robert, why don't we dive into this and tell us how this young person here came across a little militia of frogs?
I will.
All right.
But first, some historical context. While unquestionably rare, incidents of human beings coming into contact with diminutive and ostensibly amphibious frog-like entities are more common than one might expect. Irrefutably, the most celebrated event involving such creatures occurred in the wee hours of March 1955, when a short-order cook from Ohio by the name of Robert Honeycutt came across a bizarre troika of parachute pants-clad, wand-wielding, broad-mouthed beings that have found worldwide prominence as the Loveland Frogmen, which we all know and love.
Our
That's
very
right.
first episode, yeah.
Absolutely.
There it is. Honeycutt getting down with it.
Getting
You
down
got
with
sheriffs
the
shooting
broken
at
Roman
iguanas.
candle. And-
Yeah.
oh yeah, sheriff shooting iguana.
Yeah.
We have basically a decades-long saga of weird shit involved with these Loveland Frogmen. By the way, they were called Frogmen simply because they had broad, lumpy, gray heads with broad mouths and like kind of fat ripples that went horizontally across their head. Not because they really were truly resembling frogs.
Right.
The later cases have like pictures of that thing that's constantly stepping over that guardrail.
Yeah.
That's the stuff from the 70s where the cops were shooting at like the super iguana. That's more of a classic frogman. But all that aside, in doing research for this, I have come across literally piles of fucking frog and toad.
So yeah, we can't forget
I'm
Toadman.
not here to be biased.
Yeah.
Some are dry, some are slimy. Humanoid type creatures interacting with human beings, and we're gonna delve into them. But this case that we're dealing with today specifically, this case of the little green frogmen, is absolutely unique.
All right, so look out in the future for our Frogmen series.
It is going to be a continuing saga.
We got more Frogmen for you
Dude,
this week.
And here's the thing. It's not even just because I love Frogmen.
Right.
Disclaimer, I fucking love Frogmen.
We all love Frogmen.
I absolutely love like amphibious, humanoid water-dwelling things, be it the Thetis Lake monster or whatever. So part of it is our genuine love of this shit, but part of it is also every case I come across is fucking amazeballs.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Let's go to France, Robert.
Well, we're still getting there.
Okay.
Other similar events have occurred throughout the 20th century, but in terms of scale alone, the single most overwhelming incident of this type has got to be the invasion-sized force of bipedal rana seen lurking in the marshy meadows of the Ardennes forest region near the Franco-Belgian frontier on a warm and typically dark and stormy night. And I'm sure most of our listeners know, but rana is just the genus for frogs. And,
I didn't know what that was.
And here's the thing. You can only write the word frog so many times before you start to hate yourself. So you just got to dig deep and find alternate ways of saying it.
I was thinking like Adam Strange and like Ron, like the actual like planet. Not the real planet.
Do you remember, guys, the old horror film, I
God.
think from like 1980 or 1981, Rana, The Legend of Shadow Lake? Which was
Oh,
about
the
a
name-
bipedal
the name
frog man.
sounds
really?
familiar.
It was also retitled, and it's a much better title, Croaked, the Frog Monster from Hell.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I
that
like that.
title I
It was better than
remember
Rana.
too.
Yeah, it's trauma as fuck.
Croaked.
It's not a great
fuck's
movie,
sake.
but Christ, it's a predatorial frogman, so of course I love it. All right. On the night of May 2nd, 1976, sometime between 9 and 9:30 p.m., a 21-year-old butcher, cyclist, and amateur footballer, that's soccer to us local folks,
Yeah.
named Dominique Menu, and please understand I am going to bash the French language here, was driving his Renault R15 through the daylight savings dusk on a road from Matan to La Etang de Benel. So he's leaving Matan, he's going to La Etang de Benel.
I love your French.
Thank you.
It's the best.
Right. I know, I'm owning it. Daylight savings means even though it's 9:30, there's still a hint of light in the air.
Okay.
But that's what's happening. The course took him through a remote wooded area known as Le Bois de Repais on his way home from his brother's house.
The Bras de Bouteille.
And by the way, that translates as wood strokes.
Oh.
The forest of wood strokes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to think it's about chronic masturbation. It's probably about lumberjacking.
Or is the wood having a stroke?
Lumberjacking off.
Or
Ba-boom.
low hanging.
Forgive me.
See you next week.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's over.
Jeez,
Pod's over.
Ma.
Jeez, the withering
Fuck's
looks I'm
sake.
getting right
God,
now.
of all-
Has no one ever delivered a pun?
Not
But
that bad.
Not that bad. No, it was
Oh,
terrible.
come on.
You lost points, good sir.
I surely
We're
did.
seriously considering stopping right now.
Yeah,
this
no,
this
I
might
know.
be
We
the end of
might-
the
This
show.
might be the last pod you hear.
It might be.
I might
That's
have to
terrible.
cry in the bathroom.
All right,
this the
yeah,
new direction?
No, I think that we need you to really consider your puns before you deliver them. Just
I
take a
think-
moment, a breath. Just a breath to think about it.
A
Just a
moment
breath.
of
I think I'm going
breath.
to reassess a lot of things. I'm
Okay,
gonna
good.
Go
Good.
back to school.
Yeah, yeah.
Find a
no.
church.
There's DeVry.
A good woman.
There's DeVry.
Oh, MIT.
There's MIT. There's the University of Phoenix.
I
There's
need
a
to
lot
get
of
back
places
on
you
track.
can
I
go.
think we
Yeah.
all agree. I
University of
need to get back on
Phoenix.
track.
There's a lot of places you can go. There's online schooling for everybody now.
Yeah.
You can
St.
access
John Fisher.
libraries.
Lumberjacking off.
Terrible.
Come on.
You're like, guys, come on.
Yeah, come on, guys. Look at it. It's a lumberjack.
Oh,
You check it
God
out.
damn it.
Yeah. All right. So in my,
I stand by.
no one cares about my my wood having a stroke because apparently stroke jokes are not good. But whatever. So all right,
Wow.
Robert, continue.
He's on his way home
All right, good. Good place to be.
from Woodstock Wood.
Wow. Okay, good.
Though young, Dominique was a well-respected professional in his community, and as he popped on his headlights to cast away the shadows bred by the trees in the dwindling sunlight, he could never have imagined that he was about to witness something that would haunt him to his grave.
Oh, my God.
Perhaps beyond,
The worst kind of haunt.
but at least to the grave.
All the way to your
grave
dead. Fucking dead.
Jeez, what is happening today? Anyway, let's focus.
We haven't seen each other in 2 weeks.
It's
so,
true. It's sort of a giddy
Wow.
reunion
Yeah.
on top of a podcast.
And Rob is ruining puns, but whatever. Continue, please.
Whoa.
As Dominique slowed to make a left-hand turn at the crossroads that intersected an old quarry and a pair of boggy fields, he swiftly realized that something was dreadfully amiss. The first thing Dominique noticed was a cascading series of what appeared to be circular red lights, about 4 inches in diameter, atop the dark silhouettes littering the field before him. As he slowed his car to a stop, the butcher's headlights illuminated a collection of diminutive, semi-humanoid beings standing in the quagmire approximately 30 feet in front of his vehicle.
That's not what you want to see in a quagmire.
It's not what you want to see in a quagmire.
No.
Well,
And the quagmire, you know what? I tend to be hyperbolic. It's probably like a muddy field. Quagmire is more like
yes.
something where you can sink fucking tanks. The cluster consisted of roughly 50 greenish-skinned creatures standing immobile in the muck in various positions, literally frozen like deer in headlights. Dominique could see the creatures from both the front, back, and in profile, and he deemed that the things were less than 4 feet in height and noted that they had webbed, frog-like hands and, where they could be seen, feet. So all of the hands and feet, wherever
Right.
you could see the feet, were webbed.
But they're frozen.
Yeah.
That's weird.
They're frozen.
Okay.
They're frozen like, oh, headlights are on.
Don't move.
You can't see me now
Okay. And
because
there's
I'm
50.
immobile.
Yeah.
Think about this.
active camo.
Yeah,
50.
exactly. 54-foot tall amphibians.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a group of kids.
Right.
4 feet tall, 50 of them.
Yeah.
That's actually it's actually imposing. That's a
No,
lot.
I'll tell you, if I was driving down a street and then like having to turn and my headlights went into a field and 50 kids were just frozen, like you can't see me,
man,
I'm frozen,
be like,
I might not sleep for 3
Well,
weeks.
that's just creepy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
creepy as fuck. But then transpose
But-
fucking frogmen, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, it's equally creepy, but also I guess kind of intriguing.
all right.
It's fucked up. He further noted that these apparently naked entities were fairly corpulent, he's French after all, he's going to use fancy words, with pot bellies and extraordinarily thin arms that hung well below their knees. Though the frogmen's legs were also impossibly thin, they were notably shorter than the arms, which cut a perturbing figure. So you got these tiny, thin, fucking Kermit-like
Yeah.
legs, big fucking fat-ass torso,
No parachute pants.
no parachute pants.
All right, naked.
Naked as the day is long.
Ah,
And
brave.
big, dangly, thin arms that go past the knees.
Brave frogmen who don't let
Brave
their,
frogmen.
their body image positive.
Or maybe that's their primetime beach body. For all we know, the French bog is their fucking Riviera,
what they look
and they're
Oh,
there
that's
to
as good
fucking
as they
show
get.
off their hot fucking pop
They got like
bellies.
they're like Gerard Depardieu little undies on. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the fucking Speedos
Yeah.
and gut for days,
Just
and he
a-
doesn't give... His confidence is what
Just
makes him
a
sexy.
bunch of wine and movies that no one cares about. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
As if all of this weren't disconcerting enough, Dominique also observed that unlike conventional amphibious animals, or any other animals aside from humans, these bipedal beasts were sporting what appeared to be manufactured flat-topped helmets, complete with face masks and luminous red eyes.
It's kind of cool.
That changed the game a
It's
little.
kind of cool.
Wait a
though.
minute.
Naked,
up
naked,
until
naked
that
frogs
minute.
and stormtrooper helmets, kind of dope.
We're in straight
Well,
cryptozoology
there was that
land.
stormtrooper.
Well,
helmet.
just give it to
Well,
me.
you know what? You know what? I actually see Star-Lord helmet. Just the flat face,
Oh
the
yeah,
red eyes.
that's right. Yeah.
Just
All right.
a nondescript sort of protect
Weird.
my face, and I have
But-
infrared vision, I assume.
But be naked.
But be naked,
Yeah.
And look like a stormtrooper.
Okay.
naked, green, webbed, with a sweet, sweet helmet. And like I say, that is the monkey dick that gets thrown into the
Ah,
works.
the old monkey dick's back.
Because you're just like, all right, so maybe like the hibernating frogs and cicadas we've talked about, maybe every 37 years, bipedal frog-like creatures that maybe aren't even that intelligent dig their way out of the fields of France to bathe in the stormy, winter or spring, rains, and then they
Yeah.
bury themselves back down after they breed. You can you don't believe that because you think someone's going to find
No, but at
this.
least there's a biological kind of
Yes.
thing. But the
then
helmet.
you throw the fucking
yeah.
helmets in the fucking mix, and there it is.
That could be some kind of control harness. You never know.
It-
Could be a slave army of naked little frogs.
Who's the master?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
I
the
love
master?
where you're going with this.
Could be Nazis. Who knows?
Oh,
Could be.
Oh, how did I not see that coming?
Dude, it's France.
Jesus Christ. I know they've been
What-
under threat by the Nazis
Is this some
once,
sort of
but it was
Napoleonic
bad.
curse?
Could be, dude.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
You know what? Hitler
Napoleonic.
died in 69 or 70 or something like that?
Really?
joking.
I don't even know what to
joking.
Probably in Argentina.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was in
You might not be
Well,
wrong,
you're
actually.
you're assuming he's
He could-
dead.
yeah, his head could be severed with Walt Disney's and
Oh,
still
his
be alive.
brain is somewhere
Yeah.
doing some evil shit.
It's clearly in a bog.
Yeah.
Controlling frogmen. Frogmen.
Nothing pisses me off more than a bunch of fucking Nazis.
Bunch of Nazi
Wow.
frogmen.
So my goddamn grandfather fought in World War II. WW2.
Oh, boy.
That's right.
The big
goddamn
one.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Continue.
Best generation.
Continue before I start
God.
getting on my
All
fucking thing going here.
God damn it.
Son of a bitch and fucking Nazis.
Daj.
And I'm upset when I talk about them. I get mad. I get angry.
It's the new Daj order.
It's important to note that while the eyes were glowing, let me read specifically. The youth remarked that their orbicular eyes were self-illuminated, but was quick to point out that they did not emit any beams. So while
okay.
the red eyes glowed,
There was
they were
nothing.
like,
Yeah.
Right.
like,
There was
like
just
looking
nothing.
around.
Sure.
Right. That'd be weird.
It would be.
They might flip the script.
Okay, so they're not from Krypton.
All right, good.
Yeah.
There goes my fucking theory.
Maybe
As
they're-
Dominique
they're Nazis.
stared through his windshield, he tried to make sense of what he was witnessing. The things in the pasture had clearly become stationary in reaction to his headlights. But what had they been doing? He saw nothing in their webbed hands or any organized grouping that might indicate a collective purpose. There were just 50 inert, helmet-clad creatures that appeared to be aware of, though unsure of how to react to, the bright lights. Very animal-like reaction, I'd say.
Okay.
Dominique, a renowned reader, and I know this because his friend said he likes to read.
He reads a lot. Yeah.
I wish you guys would say that about me, but you won't.
Well, do
You're a
you
renowned
read?
reader?
I don't read.
Have you ever read?
Okay, well then we're not going to
Maybe.
say that.
How can I? What do you do a
Make me,
lot?
make me feel good.
Just say the one thing you like to do the most.
I read a lot of comic books.
A renowned
reader.
comic book
Yeah.
aficionado.
There. You want to clap?
Oh, thanks.
Here's a
Dash,
cookie.
dash, dash.
I just finished
There.
Crisis on Infinite Earths for like the 15th time. Again.
Can I get back to Dominique,
So,
please?
You can. Sorry.
Renowned reader. Would almost certainly have been aware of the fact that over the course of history, this locale had been the site of more amassed armies and bloody battles than could be conveniently chronicled. Might he have considered the fact that he may have borne witness to the first recorded mobilization of a non-human fighting force? Or perhaps a potential scouting expedition? In all fairness, the record notes no such speculation, but that's what we're here for.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
Regardless of the amassed frogmen's purpose, the young witness realized that he was a minority of one, and that the moment these things stopped being intimidated by his headlights, he could be in for a heap of trouble. He abruptly decided that he would abandon his trip and return to his brother's home post-haste. To that end, Dominique turned onto the left-hand road and backed his car up. It was then that the car's light caught sight of a solitary frogman standing in some shrubs just over 10 feet away from his Renault on the opposite side of the road. Dominique didn't hesitate long enough to ascertain how many of the beings were populating the adjacent Lee. Maybe one, maybe 1,000. He would never know as he sped away from the scene without looking back. So on the
Nah,
other side of
he
the
just
road,
booked.
just one in the bush.
Right.
But behind it in that field, who knows? Maybe that's
Could
where the
be-
encampment is.
Could be the rest of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Wizard Master.
Yeah.
Dominique's brother would later confirm that when his sibling arrived, he was a nervous wreck. The anxiety was so acute that he was unable to sleep that night, and even though he felt that he ought to alert the authorities in case these creatures represented a genuine threat to the human race, the butcher was afraid to do so for fear that the police might think him, and I quote, a madman.
Oh, madman.
Don't want to be labeled a madman
Nobody
in
does.
France.
No, bad scene. Although he didn't go public with his account, the story still managed to creep out across the grapevine and eventually made its way to French ufologist and the editor of the UFO magazine, again I'm going to do a brutal job, Lumières dans la nuit, or Lights in the Night, as will henceforth be referred,
Cool.
M. Spingler. Spingler wasted no time in tracking down Dominique, and on May 8th he convinced the reluctant witness to accompany him to the local gendarmerie police station to tell his story and make an official report. Perhaps figuring locals could be in real jeopardy if he remained silent, Dominique decided to put his reputation on the line, and he told the police everything he had seen. 2 days later, the butcher and Spingler even accompanied the officers to the scene of the encounter, but, not surprisingly considering the boggy conditions, no physical evidence surfaced at the site. Despite the fact that Dominique risked both ridicule and the very real economic calamity that going public with his revelations may have caused his business, the police, and even to a degree Spingler, felt that his calm demeanor in retelling the events of May 2nd were not consistent with the genuine fear that he had purportedly undergone in the days following the encounter. Both parties became more skeptical when they returned the following night and found that their headlights did not seem to illuminate as much of the fields as they had hoped. Nevertheless, by the time Spengler had published his article about the event under the title 50 Little Green Frogmen, which is, of course, where I got the appellation for this article.
Nice.
In the December 1976 issue of Lights in the Night, his editor had come across another case from the same area dating just months before May of 1976, wherein another eyewitness had discovered web tracks in the snow in the same region where Dominique claimed to have had his encounter. So, in the PDF, in the Flying Saucer Review, because Gordon Creighton, and we've talked about him in other podcasts, the great, British polyglot who spoke I don't know how many languages and did all sorts of research. He would take all of these different articles from regional UFO reports and put them together for the Flying Saucer Review, which makes that one of the more premier publications of its day. So when he came across this, he translated Spengler's work, and in it there were like little like breakdowns, both from him and from the editor of Nights in the Sky. But of course, as aforementioned, the editor of Nights in the Sky was fucking Spengler.
Yeah.
So he's acting like there's two people when there's only one?
No, I'm not trying to start a controversy here.
No,
there was just a
hot button topic.
Listen, it was translated from the French article, so who knows how Creighton did it. But basically what it said is, after the article was over, the article written by Spengler, it said editor's note. Okay. Now, as we mentioned earlier in the article, the editor was allegedly Spengler himself, but maybe it was a different editor at this point, or a sub-editor.
This is like liking and commenting on your own Facebook status when no one else does.
It could be.
Okay.
Or it could just be a guy clarifying.
Okay.
So basically what he says is, in 1975, just months before Dominique had his sighting of all of these fucking helmeted frog creatures, in the winter months where it was snowy, somebody else in those same fields had reported finding web tracks.
Yeah.
So
the old frog tracks in the snow trick.
This tangible evidence associated with that case seemed to have changed the demeanor of those investigating Dominique's sighting, from transforming it from incredulous to credible. After all, hallucinations don't have feet, webbed or otherwise. So basically this wraps it up. It's a case wherein nothing happens, yet the implications are absolutely fucking fascinating, I think. First off, the sheer mass of things that we're seeing.
Right. It's a lot of little naked helmet-clad frogmen.
Exactly.
Right.
And as you mentioned, the second part is the helmet-clad.
Yep. Yeah, that's a little...
Who's arming the frogmen?
I don't know.
I mean, that could
brought
be a
up the
dangerous
Nazis
precedent.
before.
It would be like somebody bringing Uzis into the Amazon and trying to change cultural warfare.
No, dude, give the monkeys Uzis. Yeah.
What are the primates going to do with a goddamn
What's
Uzi?
that? What's that? If you give 100 monkeys 100 typewriters, it'll make you 100 stories or some such shit?
No, after 100 years, they'll write Shakespeare or
Okay,
something.
so if you give 100 monkeys 100 Uzis, they'll fucking take...
Oh, no, please tell me. Please tell me the analogy to fucking writing Hamlet.
It's
please.
how Planet of the Apes work, okay?
It did not. Did you even watch those fucking movies?
I love those movies. How dare you? They got the Millennium Falcon and TIE Fighters. Phenomenal.
You are wrong, sir.
I mean, there was the
You're breaking my sci-fi heart.
Enterprise. So this dude comes across this enormous group of naked helmet-clad frogs, which actually aren't doing anything other than freezing because they see the light.
They're not assembled in military lines. They're not.
They're just kind of gathering.
It seems like they're just doing some shit. Maybe they're looking for grubs. Who the fuck knows? Maybe literally. I've talked about it. In terms of army, just basically as analogous to size. But really, these could be like flashlight helmets. And it helps them score some night crawlers at night and some other beetles and shit. They're just going through the muck, trying to feed their little underground fucking frog folk colony.
Maybe it was just people. Could be a bunch of weird looking people.
Well, yeah. There's. I mean, they had.
They got pot bellies.
All right, but green skinned.
Okay. Well,
fairly corpulent torsos, arms that extend past the knee, webbed fucking feet.
Well, that just
why would there be fucking 50 plus, considering what's going on in the other fields, naked, semi-deformed, green-skinned humans
looking for grubs
with webbed fucking hands, grubbing it up?
Yeah,
they're a part of a
that's where they live.
All right. You're a bag of
deformed colony.
Really?
That's where you keep all the deformed people. It's in a colony. Yeah, like a leper colony.
You know what? No.
There's an underground cave.
Yeah, where they live.
In the bog.
Can we fucking agree that these aren't humans?
Yes,
can we please do that?
I don't know. I mean, seemingly not, just because they're shaped weird.
Where we're going to start with this is we're going to say, okay, we're going to start with a skeptical approach because towards the end here, there is some skeptical things happening.
I'm all about putting in all of it.
Okay.
We don't
All right.
like bias this.
So,
we don't try to skew this just towards the believing.
What could this guy have seen that he would have misidentified and or completely taken the wrong way?
I don't know.
Oh my.
Yeah.
A late night game of tag organized by a crazy inventor who gave small children headlamp flashlight helmets to protect themselves and find each other.
And do it naked?
But the only kids he could find were
really.
from a local nudist camp, and it was a full, healthy biological immersion experiment where
Just keep talking.
The parents
Keep
were
using
around.
words.
The parents were around. Everything was safe. It wasn't a scum
But
fest.
they all had long arms.
But due to malnutrition, because nudists don't know how to eat, apparently. I just fucking offended our 7 nudist listeners. I don't really mean it.
They all left the show.
Obviously, you're all super healthy vegans. You're naked. You're going to care about that shit. I don't fucking know. They're not people. I can't. Listen, you can tell me you think he's lying. I could say he's lying.
I was thinking maybe that in the fields there was some sort of like farm equipment or like inanimate objects or something that maybe he saw real quick and was like, oh shit, what's this?
Well, the problem is that there's 50 of them, and they're separate.
Right. Well, depending on how he's parked and what he's looking at, maybe he could possibly misidentify something
you're
and
saying
freak
50
out.
helmeted hoes at random positions.
Oh, is it rakes?
Assembled
Is it 50 rakes?
Could have been a bunch
rakes
of
and
yeah, it could have been a bunch
pitchforks,
of rakes,
plows, and
50
whatnot.
scythes.
I'm just saying that maybe something in the field he could have missed. Listen, I don't want to go there, but we have to bring this up because we have to give everything a fair and balanced shot.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't farm equipment.
Recently on Reddit, I saw a post where someone's like, "Oh, these guys believe in everything," and I was like, "Hey, no, we don't. We are
don't.
skeptical."
That's a
So to you,
foolish
Mr.
thing.
Reddit
Believe
poster,
in
I forget your
everything.
fucking username and / whatever.
Clearly, he's unfamiliar with the blimp protocol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
Jesus
just
Christ.
saying, we got the possibility on there, and of course, because the police did go back and they were like, "There ain't shit here."
Well, yeah.
They did the headlight test; they couldn't see anything in the area. So
That's not true. They did the headlight test, and their beams on a granted different car
Didn't see as good as they thought they were going to see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Didn't illuminate
All right.
as much as they thought it might.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, and it was another researcher, and I'm pissed at myself for not being able to remember his name, pointed out it's daylight savings time. It is starting to get dark, and he's got his headlights on. You know, it's 9:30, but it is not pitch black out yet.
Right.
So he's not relying. Dominique is not relying solely on his headlights.
right.
So he's got his headlights. He's got a little bit of dwindling light from the descending sun, and he is seeing something that clearly terrifies him. Okay. Now we've all seen some shit. I mean, we've been all together and seen some weird shit, but we've all seen something that's like the fuck, and then you look closer and it's like, oh, it's a mailbox with a car.
I'm saying, man, maybe he just saw something real quick and he was just like shit, and he got nervous and bailed out. You know?
But when you stop, the beams are on. You're looking, you see it, and then when he backs around, he sees one, at about 10 to 12 feet.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be a post. Oh, with a reflector.
Yeah,
on
but what
it.
about the
Just
other
saying.
48?
Could be a lot of posts. A lot of
I mean,
reflectors.
he just did. He was. I'm sure he didn't count, or did he? I mean, did he stay
I
there?
don't think he had time to count. It was about 50.
All right, well, let's get into fun magic time.
But like
here.
he saw almost 50 pairs of red eyes
Yes.
right.
and
Yeah.
mask-ish things and with Mac and me bodies.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
No,
Mac
it's
and
true.
Me
It's
bodies,
true.
yeah.
They are Mac and me bodies, 100%.
So we can keep the possibility that maybe he did misidentify something because it's what we have to do. So let's just go to that. Okay, no, he really did see this weird army of 50 frogs with this crazy gear on. Maybe even more than 50 in the other field. So what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
I mean,
The
really, like
fuck's that about?
what?
No,
what
that becomes
is
the real effing dilemma here, doesn't it?
I mean, I mentioned Nazis before.
Could it be a dormant Nazi experiment that was
Could
meant to
have been,
rise
man.
up? And,
Dude.
or can you imagine this?
You can't trust those fucking
No,
Nazis.
The Allied fighting forces working their way across France, trying to, go headlong into the belly of the beast, which was Germany at that point. What better way to fucking thwart them than subterranean,
frog army.
semi-amphibious, fucking frog army to drag them down, devour their ankles, shred their Achilles tendons, and fucking leave them to bleed to death in the infectious-ridden mud of fucking Eastern France.
Gouge out their filthy fucking Nazi eyes.
Well, I mean, they're Nazi frogs. They're doing it to the good guys.
Oh, but there's a couple of them that go rogue, and they're like, no,
huge.
we're gonna help.
So Inglorious Frogmen.
Yeah, Inglorious Frogmen. So
Wow.
it actually sounds like a Hellboy storyline.
It sure does. Oh no! Listen, a weird monster that shouldn't exist,
right,
displaying humanoid tendencies, and oh wait, add in what apparently is a piece of manufactured technology. That's Mignola as the day is long.
Yeah,
fuck yeah. So, okay, let's start with, do we think this, I mean, are we talking hell? Are we talking space? Are we talking elemental, cryptozoology? What do we got? Because there's nothing really alien about it.
My first instinct, no UFOs.
No.
Now, people associate this constantly with aliens because of the technology.
Yeah, just because, it's weird, too.
No fucking UFO.
Nothing seen.
No goddamn alien, in my opinion.
That's right.
First off, we can have weird, intelligent, fucked up shit here, too.
Yeah.
Let's not dismiss Mother Earth.
Stop giving Jupiter all the fucking cred.
I know. I'm sick of it. It's already big enough.
Yeah. Fucks.
Yeah. Jerks.
Jerks.
Fuck you, Jupiter. Piece of shit.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mark is mad.
I mean, so I it's hard to tell. Here's where you go. Like, they clearly aren't looking to interact with this dude.
Right.
They seem to be intimidated by the lights. Though then again, when he was parked and aiming the lights at the creatures that were frozen, this other motherfucker might have been sneaking up behind him, because maybe it's one of those things where, like those angels in Doctor Who, if you're not looking directly at them,
yeah, dude,
they're like fucking, they're on you.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe.
So maybe
death by Frogman.
But you think an intelligent creature, or if, all right, here it is. If a creature is intelligent enough to build a protective helmet that somehow helps you see better at night, I'm assuming infrared type technology, but who the fuck knows? It's all speculation. Then you would know that standing suddenly still does not make you disappear.
No, not at all.
So is it that
unless
they just have this weird gut instinct to like freeze when there's danger, and it's just something they cannot overcome no matter how intellectually advanced they might be in terms of technology? Or are these weird grotesqueries being used by a force that is more intelligent and maybe just as non-human, and being given this type of technology and sent out for a purpose?
I automatically assume that the helmets are not made by the frogs, but made by somebody else and then given to them.
But that's racist.
Well, I mean, I don't. I don't really think it's racist.
It is not racist.
No, I'm pretty sure it's not.
It's amphibious.
No, I'm just assuming for some reason that it's like a slave class or something.
So like the mole men in the old fucking 50s.
Yeah, I think they're being forced to do some sort of thing.
Like they're being like.
Are they out foraging?
enslaved.
Are they out stealing the farmers' crops? I don't know what comes into harvest.
Oh yeah,
really-
spell components.
I mean, actually, if you think about it, militarily speaking, what better type of soldier would you have than this little 4-foot frog that you just slap a helmet on like Wolverine Weapon X style and just send them out into battle? But there's no weapons. They're not carrying laser swords.
Anything. They're not even carrying like simple tools.
Yeah, there's nothing. They're just kind of out there.
And
so
why
maybe
there?
it was like a beta run.
I mean, I feel like that's terrain specific if you're going to use frog people.
I also feel like
although frogs would be able to move really good in the mud,
if they were ever used as a fighting force, we would know.
Or would we?
Well, there'd be like if their fighting force is like, Pierre in that cottage, he was kind of a dick. Devour them all. Then that's one thing. That's like a fucking black op mission. You go in and do it.
If you send the frogmen fucking upriver to Cambodia, you don't hear from Cambodia.
Well, they would fit into the jungle camouflage-wise.
Exactly.
So they'd probably love it.
Maybe
what are they doing walking around in the snow? Amphibians can't walk around on fucking snow.
That's why I said the old fucking frog footprint in the snow track.
Are they robots? Are they designed to look like fucking helmeted frogs, but they feel no pain, no cold, no emotions?
Just blood. They just want blood.
They just have bloodlust and a need for fucking WD-40.
For some reason, I think this is a military op. Like, this is a black op.
Is it the French or is it leftover Nazi?
I think...
we always want it to be leftover Nazi.
I know
it feels like that.
Because that's the greatest. They're the greatest villains in history. I don't mean greatest in terms of most admirable. I mean like the most overwhelmingly successful evil fuckers ever.
Yeah,
because
they're the closest thing to Cobra that's ever happened.
But like, didn't Russia try to do some like weird 8-man thing? The Russian army did.
Yeah,
right?
they're trying to. I don't know, inseminate women with chimp jizz.
Yeah, to like make 8 men or some
vice
bullshit.
versa.
Yeah,
Stalin wanted an 8-man army.
Yeah,
that's
so like
for sure.
if for some reason in fucking Hitler's diary, he was like, "Oh yes, I want fucking frogmen to go and kill everybody." Like I could see them doing that.
Well, I mean, listen. All right, so we've talked about this kind of stuff in the Ohio River Valley, where if things could migrate and not be seen, be it the indescribable Octoman or the original Loveland Frogmen, this would be a great way to make a military force completely camouflaged.
If you remember, we had that listener that mentioned there's that military base that's near the Ohio River Valley.
Absolutely.
So we were talking about maybe it was some shit that escaped from there, possibly. So if we're dealing with in France, right, with this story, if we're dealing with something that is a military operation, whether it is Nazi or whether it is like some sort of like France military, I don't know, France is military, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm just checking. I'm just checking. All right, I don't know.
There is a French military.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Checking.
What do you
checking.
think they do?
I don't know.
Who protects them?
They have wine and cheese and they're cool. What's up, France listeners? So if this is some sort of like military operation where they have these weird humanoid bipedal frog, I mean, this could be like not a homunculus, but like a grown fucking organism or whatever. That's just like a
So you're talking like a techno-homunculus.
Like a techno-homunculus.
Built in a lab.
Yeah.
So a life form built in a lab to live in a very specific environment, given technology to enhance its already natural abilities and sent out for what purpose?
To destroy its enemies.
Of course.
There's nothing here.
Isn't that
he
the
just
only
finds
purpose?
Fucking frogs with helmets. They freeze. There's nothing there.
A non-human amphibious army would be devastating. I'll give you that.
Would it really though?
Yeah.
Hell, maybe.
I mean, this dude could
Maybe.
You gotta give them weapons. You gotta train them.
If you think about it, this dude in his car could probably take out a good portion of these fuckers.
Dude, that guy in that car, the way they froze, he probably could have gone out there with a stick and just whacked them all.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they could have turned on him.
I mean,
they might
knows?
have had razor sharp teeth for all we
So-
fucking know and hopped all over and fucking torn them limb from limb.
Where are we at with this right now? Robert, what do you think?
I'm not giving up a mystical angle. We haven't gone there.
Oh,
You were
an
talking
elemental?
homunculus a little bit.
All right.
But who's to say that fucking I'm not saying a
Is
fucking
this an army of angels?
An ancient French wizard cast a spell and they would come forth from the earth, the creatures that dwelled therein.
The mud people, yeah.
And do it. But who's to say? There's the scientific angle, and then there's maybe the more mystical angle, like the little people that are constantly being referred to,
elementals.
in legend and whatnot, and elementals.
Yeah.
And none of us are experts on that. We know that. I mean, I read Froud's book. I fucking love the artwork. I don't know shit about really fairy goblin.
Just don't fuck with them when you're good, I guess, yeah.
Basically, don't let them steal your baby. Don't try to take their gold. Leave them a little gift. If you see one, be super polite. Don't follow them into their hovel because you lose 17 years of your life.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Don't pork one because that goes all awry.
No, you can't be having sex, and that's just things get bad.
Or, of course, we have to invoke the word ultra-terrestrial.
Oh.
And I don't mean that necessarily just in the sense of shape-shifting mind fuckers.
Just some trickery.
Certainly that could be it. But or maybe interdimensional.
Could be.
I mean, there's something like that would be known.
Right.
If throughout rural France
there was an
bipedal
army of frogmen with the helmets,
ostensibly amphibious creatures, helmet clad, were just marching through in the fields like, they're a nuisance in this time of year, but we just deal with it.
the goddamn frogs again.
They just eat the worms and freeze when you put the light on them. They don't hurt anything. Let the frogmen be.
Yeah.
If that happened, we'd know.
They didn't have any weapons with them, which makes me think
Could be
that
like the 1,000-year frogmen that only the French know about.
Right.
it could be. They could very well be left over from World War II, and they just happen to wake up and they're like, oh god damn it. I was almost going to do a French accent, but I stopped myself.
Oh, God bless you.
I was like, oh god damn it, here we go. And they get up there stretching their legs. They're walking around, got their helmets going. For some reason, I'm thinking about Weapon X, though. Like Wolverine Weapon X.
I remember the big, fat, bulky helmet.
Yeah, dude, he had the helmet and like the cords going down to like all the different control boxes.
Nothing that complex. The drawing was very, very simple.
He was naked.
It looks like an upside-down teapot with a flat top. It rounds down to the side of the face, and then there's two 4-inch circles in the middle of it.
Yeah.
All right, well.
That's it. Real basic shit.
So
at least from what he saw.
Are you going to go spiritual, interdimensional, fairy folk, elemental, ultra-terrestrial?
I mean, I haven't ruled out. It is France, after all.
Okay.
Extraordinary art installation.
Oh, I didn't think about that. What if this was an art installation?
They didn't move.
Yeah.
What if they were just extraordinary inhuman sculptures, and juxtaposed with that is a piece of useless technology, made perhaps of overturned teapots,
like a toaster
that
or
were designed
shit.
to make some random passerby shit their pants.
Yeah, I'd be like, what
and
the
this
fuck?
Andy Kaufman-esque French fucking artist that was just trying to fuck someone's mind over and make them think in new ways.
Just like the old, like the OG Banksy or something.
Yeah, super Banksy.
All right, I like that
Banksy
idea.
McKaufman.
I like that
right.
idea, but it's not nearly as cool as I want this to be a French fighting force, a military black op.
Okay,
listen,
then
I'm
it can
just
be.
saying that.
It can be.
All right.
It has to be. It really has to be a highly trained, super amphibious army designed by Nazi scientists in the early 40s before, the war turned, where they took probably the brains of their key SS warriors, implanted them in these creatures that they kind of cobbled together genetically from various amphibians and other predatory things, found that the brains weren't quite clicking, so they had to have a helmet that sort of is like the chest plate that keeps Tony Stark alive, but this is the thing that keeps the brains functioning and allows them to see at night. And then they just were going to use them to do some really fucking nefarious shit, but the tide turned, the war was lost, they got buried with the hopes of, the Fourth Reich, someday rising with them, and something triggered. Maybe it was the electrical storm because it was a dark and stormy night, as Paul mentioned. Something happened that triggered their fucking hibernation systems, and they were unleashed.
Why don't you write this shit down? And
Because
create a
it's
script.
transcribed. It's here.
Create a script. Sell the fucking script. Talk to your agent. For the love of God, talk to your agent.
Done.
I mean, I've been your agent now for
Sure,
quite
for many
a
years.
while.
Hey, Mark,
Talk to me.
Can we do something with this?
Let me pitch this. All right, Chris, what do you think?
It was 50 blue heron.
Oh, I knew it. God damn, I knew someone was going to bring up the hair.
All got their heads caught in teapots.
Okay, I like that too.
All right, is anyone going
Fluorescent
to
teapots.
talk about the elephant in the room?
What's that?
The old hobo with a stick.
Oh,
50
the old
50 homeless.
50
50
hobos with a
bony
stick.
hobos.
Yeah.
50 nudist
Shit.
hobos with bicycle
yeah,
reflectors.
they were naked.
All right, I didn't think about that.
Posing
but yeah,
in a field.
Maybe we're dealing with just 50 naked dudes. It happens. You know?
It happens.
Yeah.
Here's the weirdest thing, though. Why never seen again? Why seen once, one person?
I don't know.
Something this massive would have to, not necessarily left any marks. Granted, there
Right.
was a year before somebody found web tracks, which is an interesting correlation, but not necessarily a direct
But,
one.
sometimes with these things, you're just dealing with like a one and done.
Yeah, well, often with these things, we're
it's just
dealing with a one and
done.
done.
Like,
And it's okay if it's like Flipper in Mexico or Vegetable Man.
Heller Space.
Or any number of things. Heller Space for Life. Or any number of these things. But it is not okay when it is at least 51.
Yeah, that's weird.
it's weird, yeah.
And we don't even know they're from underground. We keep saying underground because it seems like where else could it be? You're not flying. You don't have wings.
Right.
There was a river not far away. So maybe they are...
Traveling on the Champs-Elysees
waterborne
or
creatures.
whatever.
Exactly. I don't remember the name of the fucking river, but there was a river not far from that field in the map that was
Isn't
drawn.
that was it the Champs-Elysees? Isn't that what it's called? It's like a NoFX song or something?
Oh, something. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Some fancy river.
Regardless. Maybe they popped out of the river just to forage. Just to
Maybe.
eat some shit.
Maybe
and
I'm going to go...
they're going to go keep swimming to wherever their home is.
I'm going full left field. I'm going with the unattainable, the unanswerable
God, all right.
alien. Someone had to do it.
Which, by the way, is the
Okay.
standard op.
It is. It is.
Almost every. That's why it was published in the Flying Saucer Review after it was first published in Lights in the Sky in the
Right.
French, Flying Saucer
Dude,
Review.
maybe everything's an alien, dude. You never
And
know.
I get it. It's inhuman.
Fucking ghosts are aliens.
It is evidently intelligent enough to wear, if not actually design, some sort of technology.
Right.
And all of that's like one light in the sky, and boom, it's an alien story.
Yeah.
Right.
And so maybe he just didn't happen to see the UFO, or maybe the UFO
Could
landed
be.
and went dark, or who the fuck knows?
What-
That would explain a lot, actually, because then they could just be like, well, fuck it, we're done here. Let's get back on the ship.
Wasn't it, was it the, what the fuck was the episode we did? Was it the Bird Beasts of Var? Was that
Oh,
in
yeah.
France? Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we're dealing with some, I don't know, man. Maybe the alien just come down or whatever. Or maybe they just interdimensionally appear and all of a sudden, boom, they're there. And the next thing you minute, they're gone. No one's none the better or wiser for
I
it.
would love the
Yeah,
thought that the
yeah.
fucking little green frogmen and the bird beasts of Var were fucking death-locked enemies. Like, they hate each other.
Dude.
Just the fucking, the hopping horde, as we'll call the
Yeah,
fucking
man.
frogmen.
Oh, Jesus.
And the fluttering fiends fucking going at it since
yeah.
a time immemorial in space, and Earth is their battleground, and it is fucking on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or they
All
just
right.
live in the Hollow Earth.
Why not the Hollow
It's like
Earth?
Land of the Lost.
Could
Like,
be, yeah.
Those frogmen are like the Sleestacks.
Oh, totes.
Yeah.
They have tech, and they randomly come up, and they're like,
Yeah. They show up, they're pissed. They get scared, and then they go
well,
back into Hollow Earth.
I don't know if they're pissed.
Yeah, they're angry.
Why?
They
They didn't do
because they
anything.
come to fight the dwellers on the crust, and they're pissed.
The dwellers of the crust.
Yeah.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, they're
That's
upset.
what you've diminished us so much.
Yeah, 'cause that's what we
Dude,
are.
I have never felt so small as
Dude,
when you
we're
said
like
that phrase.
we are just fucking
Wow.
parasites on a crust, just ruining this motherfucker.
Wow.
Ruining it.
Reality
Fossil
check.
fuel.
Take that home, listeners, and
There it
put that
is.
in your pipe.
Yeah.
And smoke Uncle Mark's wisdom.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
All right, so I think that's going to do it. What do you think? Did we round that out good enough to leave people completely confused?
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
'Cause
All right, good.
I don't know what even just
Yeah,
happened.
This
fucking
is a
idea.
super clusterfuck. I don't think any
Yeah.
of us have a real theory. It's just amazeballs, and how wicked would it be to see that? And also, don't fucking take someone as fucking untrustworthy simply because they can relate a harrowing event calmly. I've known a lot of people that have been through some really brutal shit, and then even like a week later can just tell you.
Yeah.
Right.
That to me, that thing that caused their initial skepticism until the footprint was discovered or the case of it, that to me is some bullshit. You can be absolutely terrified by something and heart sick and whatever else, and then relate it to officials in a calm and direct way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit. Like, you have to have instinct for emotions, and you have to feel. People feel things in different ways. Don't be a dick and don't be a judge.
All right, well, there's your
judge.
There's your moral lesson for the week. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Don't be a judge.
Yeah.
Although we have friends that are judges, in that case, be a judge because you're pretty cool.
Well, yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, if
there
you're
you go.
on the bench, fucking judge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Judge away.
Dick or judge.
Hashtag Dick or Judge. All right, cool. So thank you for joining us for the Kryptonaut podcast. Ratings and reviews, stick around. We're going to be doing some of those. Social medias, Insta's, Twitter's, Facebook. Hit us up. Leave us some reviews in the iTunes Apple Podcast. Buy our shit at Big Cartel and TeePublic. The links will be in the description of this podcast. I think that's it, right?
I think that's
Did
it.
I hit it all?
I think you
Yeah,
nailed
I
it.
did.
Sounds
All right,
great.
cool. We will be talking to you soon.
Goodbye.
Fucking crust parasites.
Goodbye.
All right, thank you for sticking around for the ratings and reviews coming at you from the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps, because those are two separate things, and I'm tired of saying it. Amazing pod, 5 stars, Ice Queen Cat. It's hard to say something that hasn't already been said, but this podcast truly helps me feel calmer during anxiety, and it feels exactly like sitting around the table talking to friends. The entities and occurrences discussed are rarely discussed, and I adore learning about new things. It's smooth to listen to as I sew, especially. Thank you for the hilarity, guys. So thank you, Ice Queen.
You are welcome.
Ice Queen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And I'm
Wait,
glad that we can give you
Were we called smooth?
We were called smooth. Yeah.
Fucking.
Smooth.
That is
Yeah.
an adjective. I don't think that's ever been applied.
Oh, wait,
to
I'm
me.
sorry. It wasn't smooth. It's soothing.
Oh, that's even better.
It's soothing to listen to as I sew.
I love it.
So Ice Queen Cat sewing. It's soothing.
Do we have a nice, rambling,
Soothing.
easygoing demeanor?
Maybe she thinks we're smooth.
Are we like
I don't
Morgan
know.
Freeman's?
Oh,
Could be.
No, we can't
Yeah.
aspire to that.
Well, I am. I don't
well,
know.
yeah, in every way. But I mean, I meant the editorial.
And I'm glad that we can help you out with your anxiety. That's something that we all deal with, and
Absolutely.
it's very nice to know that we can help people. So thank you, Ice Queen Cat, Robert.
I have a review from Scott G. Larson. And it's a big one. God bless him.
All right, let's do it.
I have long been interested in all aspects of the paranormal. That being said, I do not consider myself a quote-unquote believer. I do believe most sightings of any nature can be explained away, but not all. It is the small percentage not easily explained that fascinates me. Here fucking here. I agree with that
yeah.
completely.
Totally.
As for this podcast, I love that they focus on lesser known cases. I get real tired about hearing about Roswell and other such stories over and over again. The hosts have a lot of fun with the topics, but get the facts as known and present the data in a clear and concise manner. Thank you. We try.
Thank you very much.
As for the theme of the podcast, I have used this description before, but I think it is the best way to describe this podcast. Imagine yourself with 3 friends enjoying a drink and discussing the paranormal. This show does come across like listening to friends just having a friendly conversation. And indeed it is.
It
That's
is.
what we
I
are.
mean, that's literally it.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Rob writes an article and comes and discusses it with Chris and I, and then we try to debunk him or agree.
That's not exactly it.
That's what we do.
I don't come in with a theory.
You do. You got a thesis.
No, I present a series
statement.
of facts. I do not have theses.
And then me and Chris say it's a blimp.
once we read it, then we all do.
Oh yeah, once I, you know what? It's funny. I try to write it. Listen,
Occasionally, though, you go through in the article.
I am not going to like try to toot my own horn, but I really try to get mega sources. I fucking try to distill the most corroborated elements and put it all together in a big fancy fucking whole because I love our listeners. And then once I do that, when I'm reading it with you guys, it's like I'm wearing a completely different hat than the writer researcher hat. At that point, I'm just sort of listening with you, and I'm going, oh well. Clearly, that's some shit that's going on.
Then Chris and I say it's a blimp, and you get angry, and we all move on.
Yeah, because it's never a fucking blimp.
It's always a blimp.
It has never been a fucking blimp.
At least 5 were blimps.
Yeah, at least 5 were blimps.
Crawfordsville might have been a blimp.
Thank you.
That's it.
Oh, really?
A fucking dirty cat blimp.
There's more.
And that's the only fuck-sucking one.
All right. Is that for that review?
That's it.
All right, cool.
And,
thank you very much.
Scott G. Larson, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to notice. And you're absolutely right. It's what we are. And thank you for that fine review.
I got best cryptid show I have found. 5 stars from Woo Hoo Choo Choo.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it.
I think I did. Great chemistry between hosts, good content, and there is a nice amount of research without it being too heavy or dry. I also like that they look at cryptids that aren't really widely known. Great show.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey.
you.
Cryptids.
Woo hoo choo choo. Thank you. That's how I say it.
That was good.
That's how I say your name. Okay.
Okay.
Robert?
I've got one from Joshua Coffey. And he says, super fun listen. These guys are hilarious, and the amount of content on obscure cryptids is awesome. Thank you.
Well, shit.
Cool.
We try, and we love obscure cryptids.
We do. We do.
Fuck the normal jams. Nobody wants to... Well, everyone wants to hear that. If you're going to see a band, you want to hear the hits. If you're coming to us, you want the fucking weird.
Although when I saw Slayer, I don't think they played War Ensemble.
No.
I don't think they did.
Really?
No, you know what? They did. They didn't play Seasons in the Abyss. That's what it was. It was Seasons in the Abyss.
Well, I mean, there's only so much you can pick from.
But you need to play Seasons in the Abyss.
Decades of hits, though, you have to choose, because you got to play Rain and Blood, too, and you got to play South of Heaven.
But out of everything from Seasons in the Abyss, they played like Dead Skin Mask, War Ensemble.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
I think they played like Spirit in Black, which is like a rarity. Like, it's kind of like a
Well, you got to dig deep a little. It can't all be the gems.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, the fuck? You didn't play Seasons in the Abyss?
Are you going to be all right with this?
No, I'm not. I'm moving on to this next review from Sasquatch 46,000, 5 stars, great palate cleanser. I'm moving on, Rob.
Right on.
All right.
Well done.
I listen to mainstream pods like HSW, Time Suck, Hysteria 51, and MU. Normally, but you guys are a definite palate cleanser. You will not find your subject matter just out there. To be explored and exploited. Stay frosty. Rob, your art is righteous. Thanks to the pods.
Well, thank you.
We are frosty.
Right.
I try to keep it righteous. And I kind of like the fact that I guess in between mainstream main courses, we are the palate cleansing weird shit that you throw into your fucking mind mouth.
Yeah, it's good to know.
To prime it up, get all the garbage from the last one out, and then go afresh. So fascinating compliment.
Yeah.
And again, thanks for liking the art.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Do you have any more Facebook or is
I
that
am
it?
flat the fuck out, I think.
All right, I got one more to round us out here, and then we are done for this episode. This is called 5 stars from Uncle Auntie, and it is titled Pepperidge Farms.
Ha!
Oh, man.
These guys have found a great formula. Chris, Mark, and Rob put together a fucking, it's all blasted out, great pod. Their use of Rob's research, Mark's humor, and Chris's music play like a symphony to the ears. If you don't like colorful language, who cares what you think?
Ooh, yeah.
These gents put together a fun, informative pod that is great. That is a great escape from the day-to-day. Whether it be hell or space, swamp gas, or an errant weather balloon, they give insightful commentary. They introduce you to obscure and overlooked paranormal, cryptid, and ufological events to educate and, dare I say it, entertain. They are my number 2 podcast and will always be my go-to for a chuckle. I only have one request. More Chris. The surly SOB is hilarious.
I'm surly.
T-Bell.
It's fair.
Awesome.
I've always
Cool.
wanted
Thank you,
maximum
T-Bell.
Chris from Word Go.
T-Bell.
Yeah, fucking T-Bell, Taco Bell, fucking. Thank you for the
Taco
review.
Bell.
That was a pretty informative and pretty in-depth one. So, So awesome, cool. Thank you very much for your ratings and your reviews. Again, you can leave those in the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps. Those are two different things that we got to talk about. Apple gets mad at us. Because every time I say it, I get so fucking annoyed.
I see this.
iTunes and Apple Podcasts just keep this shit the same.
No, it's
Why
Apple.
are you going to rebrand fucking iTunes to the Apple Podcast apps? Just have a separate podcast app that runs off of fucking iTunes, because this one does.
It sort of just makes sense what you're
God
saying.
damn it all anyway, Apple.
Your rage is not lost on me.
God, I know. Son of a bitch. You know what?
Necessary partitions.
Also, too, be sure to leave your ratings and reviews on the Facebooks as well. So there you have it. And we're talking to you.
Gee, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
you like that? Yeah.
This is a new
Damn,
dad.
man.
Stands alone.
It's a new day, new dad.
Are you our same
What?
dad?
Why do you say? Why did you? What happened? Where's real dad?
Hootie the Blowfish has been stuck in my mind.
Did you see him in Disney?
Yeah, no, actually.
Did you switch places with him?
Yeah, no, Darius Rucker, has been stuck in my head. I don't know why.
Did he change your life view?
You know what's weird is he's not, he can sing.
He can, yeah.
He's not
No
terrible.
one's debating that.
No one. None of us said that.
But I feel like
A lot of his choices about what
I
he
feel
wants
like he
to sing.
gets like the Nickelback treatment sometimes. Like, oh, Hootie and Blowfish. But he's not like...
No, he's not that bad.
Well,
He's
is
not
a-
Chad Kruger or whatever his name is.
I don't
No.
know.
I don't know.
what his name
Should we
is.
even talk about Nickelback, or is that like a bad thing to do? Is
I
that like
think- no, I think
is that
you know what
corny?
It's like invoking Ted McGinley.
It is, yeah, it is. Yeah,
we
all
should
right.
maybe let this one lie.
Well, you know what?
Ted McGinley.
Hopefully, Darius Rucker has a new record out soon, and I'm still upset that Slayer did not place his in the best. So,
Wow.
there you go.
Right on.
All right, cool. And we'll be talking to you.
All right,
Apparently.
bye. See you again.
Fucking wow.
How do we go out on Slayer and Darius Rucker?
You
fucking your fault.
knows, man.